Right, so in this video, we're basically going to learn how to register an applicant to CFP. So along your left-hand side here under the information tab, we have landlords, properties, tenancies, applicants. The difference between obviously a tenancy and an applicant is an applicant who is somebody who's actually actively looking for a property. Once they've moved into a property, we then move them across to the tenancy screen. But initially, let's look at how we would register a new applicant. So if you go along to the toolbar along the top, you have various icons. You're looking for the new icon, add a new record. So you click on new and it will automatically take you to a blank page. Now my simple rule of thumb is when you're adding an applicant, and to do it all properly, all the way through, is start from the top, go to the left, to the right, down to your criteria box down here, and then over to the right to your notes section. So here is where you would check that your initials were listed. So here we've got JK, which is Julie Knowles. If you're anybody else, you'll just pull the drag down menu, look for yours, select it, and then that becomes your applicant. It will automatically default to your branch code, but do always check that it is correct. You need to type in the client's full name with all the correct spelling. Full address, because this gets pulled across when we send any letters. It is really important that you put the postcode in, because you can actually use the postcode box. If you double click on it, it will take you through to Google Maps. This is your telephone number fields. So your home number, 01788 1566, your work number. Nobody has a fax anymore these days. Type in the mobile number. Again, important for the mobile number because you have the facility to text, SMS your person directly from the software. Also make sure you take the correct email address. Any letters or notifications we want to generate will pull through this email address. So if it's wrong, then the email will bounce back. We also want to see where the lead came from. So did your applicant see our to let board? Are they already in rented accommodation? If they are already in rented, then ask for the landlord's name and address and put it in this follow-up notes box. You can then add that potential lead to your prospect list, which we can cover off at a later date. Did they see the property on Rightmove? Did they just walk into the office? We basically need to analyse where our leads are coming from. So we've filled in all those bits. Your negotiator initial will automatically default here because that was what you logged in with when you first opened CFP. Okay, what is our client looking for? I wouldn't worry too much about all this data here because we don't actually run on CFP at the moment the matching facilities. But what we do want to know is the date our tenant needs to move into a property by. So this tenant may not be moving until they've got until the 31st of March, so we would just drop that date in there. But we do want to know how much they want to spend. So if you click on the numeric criteria box, and they may be looking between £600 and £800 a month. So we will just pop that in here. Over on here to the right, the follow-up notes box is just some notes you want to make. So when you go into this client record, you can see who they are and what they want and when they want it by. So looking for a 2-bed, unfurnished, town centre, move by end of March, has a dog. Okay. Any other special things you may need to put in here would be to include client has mentioned they would need a guarantor. They have a dog, so they are aware of the pet clause. As much information as you want, so when you do go into that client record, you know a lot about them, so when you're making a prospecting call out about a property, whether or not that's going to be suitable for them. Okay, so we've filled all our information here on the screen. We want to save this record. So if you go to the top along your toolbar, there's the Save the Record icon. If you click on that. Okay, and then what we want to do is go along to your right to what looks like a book, and this is called the history log. And if you click on that, what we want to do now is generate a follow-up. So when you come in and log into CFP each morning, you are displayed with your personalized to-do list, and that's a list of tasks to do or calls to make. And we want to add an entry So you automatically told when to give this client a call as a follow-up. And we call them a prospect follow-up. Sorry, we call them an applicant follow-up. So we go to app follow-up or applicant follow-up, doesn't matter which one you select. Select the date you want to call them. So it could be in a week's time, it could be in 2 days' time, depending on what you're going to be calling them about. Okay, your initials automatically drop in there. And in the notes, put something, this is what will display on your to-do list. So have we got any new properties in town centre, 2-bed that will take a dog? Okay, that's your reminder of what your client is looking for. Okay, and you basically click add. Entry added successfully, just go OK. And that is typically how you enter an applicant. Key things to remember is get your initials right, because if you select somebody else's, it will become somebody else's applicant by default. Okay, and make sure you add your follow-up date so you know when to call that client back and what you're calling them back about. Okay, thanks for listening.